silver is certainly enough to make you pull the hair out of your head. And a lot of people have bought silver perhaps for reasons that I typically don't recommend buying silver for. I mean, you can buy silver equities, but to buy silver to get wealthy is something you better have stick-to-itiveness, as my sixth grade teacher said.
Welcome to this video on the gold market and its recent fluctuations. Andy Schectman, CEO and President of Miles Franklin Precious Metal Investment, will reveal the reasons behind gold's new intraday high, the reasons for the sharp correction, and the future outlook for the precious metal. You will also learn how to invest in gold wisely and profitably from him. No matter what level of experience you have in the gold market, this video will provide you with insights and tips for navigating the changing landscape. Now is the time to watch the video, so don't miss it.
I mean, the commitment of traders part, yeah, you had the commercial banks going very short, taking the other side of the money managers' long positions. And this is what they typically do, rinse, wash, and repeat. And the speculators, the money managers, push the price up. The commercial banks take the other side and are heavily short. Now, this is a game that won't end well, I guess would be my take on this, in an environment where there is evidently a large degree of shortages on industrial-sized bars, both gold and silver, large amounts of deliveries. It will not end well. The question is, at what point do the commercial banks stop shorting a rising market? And that's what makes this market so different than others, is that the commercial banks short a rising price. And that's what makes it very unusual. Most people would short a falling price. You don't short into a bullish market unless you have very, very, very deep pockets. In an environment like we are geopolitically right now, it's enough to put companies out of business. And, let's talk for a minute why I think the price ran up. And of course, everyone's got different opinions. But when you say more to come, I sent you that article last week after I was on your show. And I've been talking forever about the BRICS and the ultimate loss of the petro status. And I've talked at length about, ad nauseum, about Saudi Arabia's role in all of this, in joining the Belt Road, in joining the BRICS, in joining the SCO, in telling the folks at Davos that they're willing to take other currencies for oil, or listening to it. But it's different when we see the seventh largest oil producing country in the world, a country that just so happens to be hosting 200 countries for a United Nations summit simultaneously, presided over by the chairman of the state-owned oil company in United Arab Emirates, who then tells the world the day before the summit, we're no longer taking dollars for oil any longer. This is a massive shot across the bow. And I think this is emblematic of more to come. Now, it's not as climactic as if this was from Saudi Arabia and all of OPEC. But look, these guys just were admitted to the BRICS alongside Saudi Arabia. These are the people that are making trades with France for liquid natural gas and accepting yuan. These are very substantial moves that will ultimately affect the settlement value of the dollar, maybe someday the reserve status. But all of that settlement, we call it logarithmic decay, all of that loss of settlement, little by little by little by little, and then all at once. We're not at the all at once yet, but chipping away at the dollar hegemony will absolutely reflect positively in the price of gold and silver. But the cartel doesn't want to let it run yet, and it's not going to be easy. But maybe we've established a floor here, and I guess we'll see. We'll see what the next week or two has in store. I'd like to see it bounce right back up here before the end of the week. Before the end of the week, and maybe we will. Well, one would think so. I think there's big things in store for gold. Very big things. When you see the amount of gold that is being gobbled up by the countries of the world, only second to last year were their acquisitions this year, which was an all-time high. And the central banks are buying more gold right now than in any time in the last 70 years. And so when you talk about gold leading the way, it's certainly being driven by the central banks. But look, India imported 60 million ounces in October. China imported 10 million ounces in October. That puts 360 million ounces that we know of that India imported really just over the last year and a half, 2 years. And there's a lot more that we're not being told about. I think silver is certainly enough to make you pull the hair out of your head. And a lot of people have bought silver perhaps for reasons that I typically don't recommend buying silver for. I mean, you could buy silver equities, but to buy silver to get wealthy is something you better have stick-to-itiveness, as my sixth grade teacher said, stick-to-itiveness, in the respect that you have to have strong grip, you have to trust your gut. But I will tell you that I believe it is probably the most undervalued, underappreciated asset on the planet with perhaps the greatest upside potential. It really is. But it bucks conventional wisdom. It is counterintuitive. And I'll also tell you this, that one of the biggest mysteries of my career will be that there is a shortage in industrial size bars across the globe, whether it be COMEX, LBMA, or huge deliveries coming out of PSLV by BlackRock, or large distributions or deliveries coming out of SLV by the authorized participants, 50 plus million ounces delivered off of COMEX. I mean, you're seeing all this silver disappear on the industrial side. And you have Ted Butler screaming, and I think Ted's fantastic, smart guy as it pertains to the COMEX, that there is a shortage, and yet this is the best availability and the lowest premiums I've seen on silver for over 4 years, and it really is a head scratcher. And if it makes me really question, like I can't quite wrap my head around it, I can only imagine the people who bought it and are waiting for this big move. But with that being said, from a standpoint of fundamentals, there's nothing like it. It is disappearing in nature. It is increasing in demand. It is decreasing in terms of above ground stockpiles. There's tremendous deliveries that are moving eastward that will never come back. And, you know, it's interesting in looking at the Silver Institute numbers. Well, they revalued or readjusted their numbers, saying that they were off on some of their numbers. And then you have this summit where they're talking about quadrupling this summit just this other day in Dubai, that, they're going to quadruple the amount of solar panels, which will, if not take the majority of all the silver mined each year, who knows? But what the Silver Institute ignores is the amount of silver that the military industrial complex is using. And this, to me, is something that, you know, when you talk about why silver is underperforming, why it's been held down for so long, you have to wonder how much silver goes into all of this high-tech weaponry and all of this aerospace stuff and everything that needs silver in it, like 500 ounces in the tip of a Tomahawk cruise missile. Well, how many missiles are being fired around the country and around the world, rather? So what I'm getting at is that there has been big forces at play trying to hold down the price of silver. And I believe a lot of it has to do with the constant war that's going on around the world and the amount of silver that is needed to supply the munitions. And so you got big banks and big interests and big money trying to hold it down, but it's still manipulation. And I don't care how powerful these players are, it's still manipulation, and all manipulations will end badly. And I think we're getting to that point where the drawdowns industrially will start to massively affect what is available on this side of the table. And you put it all together, done again, with what's happening around the globe, I don't think there is a better, more distorted asset that you could own, period, on the planet than silver. But if I had one trade to make, it would be gold, because it's the only other tier one asset. So that probably just confused people more than not, but I will tell you that I think from an investment standpoint, I don't see a better one on the planet. Honest to God, I do not.
I hope you enjoyed this video on the gold market and its recent fluctuations. You learned from Andy Schectman, CEO and President of Miles Franklin Precious Metal Investments, about the factors that influenced the new intraday high of gold this week, the reasons for the sharp correction, and the future outlook for the precious metal. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more videos on the gold market and other topics. See you next time. Thanks again.